Hi movers, and welcome to my channel. This is Jamila, also known as the Moving Soul, and today we're going to move into a mindful movement flow that focuses on the hips and the lower back. All you're going to need is yourself and a mat, and we'll begin lying on our backs. So let's start with a little check-in for ourselves, meeting the earth, feeling our feet, making connections from the big toes to the heels, noticing the back of the pelvis resting on the mat, space between the shoulder blades, the weight of the skull resting into the floor, and just noticing if there are any areas that are calling out to you, either in wanting attention or creating some signals for areas of focus. Take an inhale through the nose and an out breath. And let's utilize our breath to enliven our bodies, to create spaces, to transform through movement. So let's begin by moving the pelvis on your exhale back into the mat. So moving into some pelvic rocks and meeting yourself with just gentleness, allowing the lower back to find the floor, and then simply returning the pelvis back to its start position. And here you're just checking in with the lower back, checking in with the pelvis, avoiding the temptation to want to push, to make something happen more than what is required. So exhaling back and inhaling to return. And this little rock creates this potential for soothing. And let's return back to our start position where the low back is not connected to the floor, but it's just resting in more of your natural alignment. And we're going to move into single leg lifts, and our focus here is to remain relatively quiet and yet connected in the upper body as we pick up one leg. And we'll start that movement on an exhale, on an out. One leg coming up, and then floating it back down. Let's take this into alternation. Exhale and down. And again, I invite you gentleness, meeting yourself with these leg lifts, checking in if there are areas maybe in your shoulders or in your hands or your jaw where you might be attempting to control or hold this movement by tensing. Use that breath, check back in, use that exhale, and allow it to quiet down those spaces of tension or gripping. That's our last one there with that single leg lift. And then on the next out breath, slide the first leg down, flex, and then pull the leg back up. Long leg slide, alternation again, and come back in. So reaching away and bringing it back, and the leg is reaching and bringing it back, and again, reach the leg, bring it back, and invite that exploration of stretch. And we're going to go one more time, and let's bring the legs back into our start position. From here, gently take the pelvis, roll it back. Once you've rolled it back, fire up the glutes, draw the glutes to lift as you articulate the lower back and the pelvis here, making sure not to push the weight into the neck. And then we're going to roll the spine back down and return back on our in-breath, moving into our hip roll on our out-breath. Utilize the imprint, cascade the spine up, legs are reaching, thighs are reaching long. Take an in-breath at the top, and then roll the spine right back down. We're going to go for 4 more for a total of 6. Exhale, find the glutes, lengthen the thighs, float, in-breath here, roll it down. Lengthen the pelvis, release the glutes. In breath, out breath, pelvic imprint, glutes engage, thighs lengthen, hamstrings support. In breath at the top, roll the spine back down, keep the gaze towards the ceiling. Final one here. Exhale back, glutes. Articulate low back, thighs reach away. In breath at the top, eyes look to the sky. And rolling down, final time here. Return and coming back to center. From here, roll on to one side. Come all the way up to seated position. And we're going to take ourselves into a Z-sit or a double stag. So having the legs stacked one behind the other here, we're going to start with the hip, and we're going to just do a little rock the hip back, and then allow for the pelvis to walk forward, rocking back, and stretch forward. So a little dance for the lower back, still playing with that sense of imprint, and then returning to our neutral here, rock back. Here we are, and come back up. Swing those legs over to the second side. Find your Z-sit. And then from here, dancing on the second side, hip goes back. Rock the pelvis forward and stretch it back. And rock forward and back. Reach it forward. And 3. And forward, and dancing it back, and forward, and dancing the hips back, and forward. One more time, dance it back, and forward, come back to our first side here, and moving this into a variation for Mermaid. We're going to inhale, lifting up the arm. So I'm lifting up my right arm, and then I'm going to exhale, bend the left arm, open the side body, and taking that breath in, exhale, push myself back up. And this time I want to hover here. My weight is situated on my left hip or the side that's down. From there, we're going to rotate. Exhale, find some rotation. Come back into the center. From here, drop the arm down. The outside arm cascades up and over, forearm down on the floor. Long mermaid reach. And exhale, press. Inhale, float back up. And we're going to keep rotating to the left. In breath to the center. Exhale, cascade over, mermaid to the side. In breath. Exhale, press up, float up. Inhale, expand through the shoulders. Exhale, twist. Last two here. In breath. Out breath. Exhale, stretch over, laterally stretch that side. In breath at the bottom. And floating back up. In breath, expand. Exhale here. Back into the center. Final time. Taking it up and over. Forearm down. Extra breath in to expand the lungs. Push up. And rotate back to our left side. Bring the arms down by the side. Take the legs over. Now you've got your right leg in front. Your left leg is in that stag behind you. And we are going to begin this side. Lift the left arm. Reach the right arm a little further away. Forearm folds to the floor. Head and heart in the same alignment. And pressing back up. Then we rotate to our right. Come back to the center. And exhale over. Inhale. Exhale up. Inhale, expand. Find that lift. And return. Down. Forearms stretch and lengthen side body. Bring it back up. In breath at the top. Exhale, rotate. In, extend. And exhale, cascade over, down on the forearm again. Press, extend up. And rotate here. Back in. Expand, arms, reach shoulder blades. And exhale. Lift. And coming up. Rotate. We might be doing an extra one since I lost count. No problem here. Inhale. Exhale, forearm down, reach, stretch up and over, lift, exhale, rotate, come back in, float those arms back down. We're gonna return to our side sit. One more thing happening here, and we're gonna add a little bit of extension here. So we're gonna take a breath, inhale, rotate our bodies, take our hands in front. We're turning to the left. Hands down onto the ground here. And we're gonna exhale. Pull the elbows closer to your body. Lower the chest about halfway down. You don't even have to go halfway down, but just a little bit of a bend based off of what your pelvis and your lower back will allow for your extension here. And then we're gonna exhale. Push, and in breath, lower, out breath, extend up. You can now begin, if you've got things maintaining in the connection, your right pelvis and hip are pulling forward, you can add the float and the engagement of the glute and the hamstring, that back line. So now we're gonna take the breath down. Scoop that back leg up and return, or just keep the leg down and or alternate. Down. And again, just find that sense of dance and flow. Press back up and changing to the other side. Give yourself a moment to again find that alignment, and you're not going to have your sitting bone touching the ground on your left side, so definitely avoid wanting to curl back into this. So you're just balancing on the center of your now right sitting bone. We're going to take our spines over into a little bit more rotation. Find that high extension here. Palms flatten down, and just begin by bending and finding your halfway point and extend. Great. So inviting that sense of flow down and loft yourself back up, flowing down, elbows are reaching back, and then floating back up here. Add the glute hamstring connection if you want a little bit more here, and extend up. 2 more, down and extend up. 1 more time, down and extend up, and coming back to the center here. From here, we're going to come now onto hands and knees. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, everyone, and come into just a little weight shift. So a little bit of taking more of that weight into our upper body and then back. And shifting the pelvis, then adding the shoulders. Find that sense of lightness and noticing what may be asking for a little bit more support or a little bit more exploration. And you can move to that, right? Move towards that. All right, let's bring that to a quiet place. Come back in. And from here, let's add a little bit more strengthening. So we've been supporting ourselves, right? Playing around with our rotation and our extension here. Let's begin, if you can, keep the shins down for now. We're going to move into a little abdominal bracing here. Breath in, lengthen tail to head, so no sagging down in the spine, right? So again, press the arms, reach out through the fingertips, and you're going to float that front body into the middle of your body. And then from here, we're going to press the shins down. Long exhale, and float the knees up. Lower the knees back down on the inhale. Exhale, press the shins, and floating up. And we're going to take this and hover those knees, and then gently land them back down. Exhale again. And again, floating back down. Maintain that energy, disperse throughout the fingers, shins press, knees hover. That's number 4. Take a breath in and float right back down. Coming back, stretching out the wrists, come down onto the forearms here, bring the hands together and send the elbows forward, drop the chest. And we'll just go for a little bit of a stretch for the shoulders and also for our triceps. Backs of the arms there. From here, coming back and stepping the hands back underneath. From here, we're going to extend one leg back. We're going to tuck the toes underneath. And then we're going to shift our weight away from our hands and back into our left hip. So the right leg is now straight, toes are tucked under, arms are still engaged. And then notice if your abdominals need a little bit more support. So find that loft underneath the front of the belly. You'll feel a little pickup in the front of the chest, so let that rise where your back expands, and then exhale, float that leg up. We're gonna point and bend the knee. We're gonna extend the leg, flex, touch it back down. Stay on the same side, exhale, point and bend the knee, extend, flex, and you're just balancing right across the pelvis, lifting the abdominals. We're gonna go one more for number 4. Lift, exhale, bend, and coming back out, lower it back down. Bring the knee back underneath, and a little intermittent movement, shifting from side to side, hips shifting from side to side, and then we're gonna finish this off with our second side. So from here, it's our left leg now, or whatever leg you decided has not gone yet. Extend that leg back, send the energy towards the hip, right? So now we're in our right hip here. Keep the energy expanding across the finger pads so you're not sitting on your wrist creases. And then remind yourself a little bit more loftiness in the belly and also in the sides of the body. From here, weight is back, exhale, lift, bend, extend, flex, touch it down. Keep the energy from sagging, press and re-ground, back up, bend, extend, flex, down, twice more, and up, bend, extend, flex, bring it down, one more time, and point, bend, extend, flex, bring it down, and come back. And round the spine up to the sky. Walk the hands back and find yourself standing on your knees. From here, we're gonna come into a lunge. The right leg is gonna stay down and the left knee is going to be knee in the alignment, the heel underneath the knee, hands on for some balance here, and just give ourselves a moment. They have not been vertical or upright in this way, so allow for you to regain your sense of focus and balance, alignment and orientation. And we're going to take this into a lunge. So now moving the back of your pelvis forward. My body is going to remain upright because I'm just trying to open the front of my right thigh. Take a breath in. And then I'm going to use my exhale to pull me back into my start position. In breath. And exhale. I'm staying lifted in my inner body as I press the back of my sacrum forward. And then I return and I come back. And again, forward, keeping the heart lifted, the eyes open, and return, coming back. Final time, so just 4 per side. Reach, lift, inner body, open the front of the hip, return, and come back. All right, so bringing the other knee down, the left knee is down, and the right is in our lunge position. Regroup and reorient for the second side. Of course, if you need a little more padding, you can fold your mat over or actually place a towel down if the knees are feeling a little sensitive. So do continue to check in with the sensations that your body are sending to you and respond accordingly. Now I'm going to take my hands, stack them on top of my thighs, and I just want to now check in because I have one hip that likes to do something other than aligning itself sometimes, and so I want to check that it's not actually hiking up and invite a sense of balance across the front and back of my pelvis. That feels about right now. Hands onto the thigh here. Bring the back of the pelvis forward as I move into that lunge. Eyes and heart stay up, looking out. And it's the first one. So I'm going to be easy and gentle as I move into this. And I know that I have 3 more repetitions so that I can explore, but I won't shock my thigh by moving ahead too quickly. So I invite you to pace yourself and to move into a depth that your body is guiding versus your head. Happy hips here. Shift forward. Number 3. Eyes and heart. Gaze out. Returning. Final time here. And forward. And coming back. And now I'm going to go ahead, bring my hands back down to the earth here. Tuck my toes underneath. And I'm going to take a breath in. Exhale. Float my knees off the ground as I send my hips back into space and my heart moves down. Let's just paddle out the feet. And bend the knees. Coming back. Keep the heart lifted. Stretch along the back. Release the toes. And round the spine. Upper spine down. Forehead into the ground here. Giving yourself a moment to breathe. Focusing on the breath. Traveling throughout the lower back, the hips, the knees, and the feet. And thanking yourself for this brief practice for the hips and the lower back. I hope that you find a little more ease, a little more gentleness as you meet yourself, as you go on with your morning or your evening. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.